Hello, everyone. Wow, do I have a treat for you today? I don't just have one awesome guest, I have two awesome guests. And I'm not going to do them any justice, so I'm going to let Anya and Srushtika introduce themselves. And I've done it in that order because that's the way the game was made. So I say we, I didn't do it. So they made Flappy Birds, and then it was made single player at first by Anya, and then multiplayer real time by Srushtika. So I want to let them introduce themselves and talk a bit about the game, and then we're going to have a play, and then we're going to dig into some code, and then you're going to play with us in real time. So Anya, please introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, my name is Ania. Super excited to be here today. I specialize mainly in making retro games on my own channel, so it was really cool when these guys approached me, wanted to do Flappy Birds. I was all over it. Yeah, really happy to be here, so thank you.
Awesome. Srushtika, tell us about yourself and the real-time part.
Cool. So, hey everyone. Very nice to virtually meet you, although I can't see you from the comments. But I'm Srushtika and Ania, and I work as a developer advocate for a company called Ably Realtime. What it does is basically it provides real-time messaging infrastructure, so you can make anything communicate over the web in real time. So that's what I've used. I've taken Anya's single player game of Flappy Bird and I've used Ably. So, the different players communicate with each other in real time and they can play the game together. So we're gonna look more into it.
Awesome. So I'm
Very
actually got the game in front of me and I'm a little bit excited. I want to dig a bit more into both of your journeys and how you got to where you are. But I'm too excited. If you don't mind, let's have a quick game to show everyone what they'll be playing towards the end of the stream with us. So if I share my screen. And then hopefully everyone watching can see this awesome multiplayer real-time game. And let's have a quick go and show you what it's like. And then we're going to dig into some code and show you how it was made. Right, so 3, 2, 1.
Let's go, let's do this.
I always crash! Okay, let's try again.
You can join again, just refresh.
Wait, hold on, okay.
Let's just try.
Yeah, that's fine. You can join anytime.
Yeah.
Almost.
Oh, I'm dead.
How did you get 4 points?
I've been testing the game, so basically that's what made me better.
Practices, right?
I should have practiced beforehand. I would just want to make it through the first pipe.
Practices, right?
I should have practiced before. I would just want to make
Actually, don't blame me. Don't blame me. Anya's game was harder. I even increased the gap between the pipes. So it's easier.
Oh, okay. So you made it easier. Okay, that's good. I think we might need to make it easier still. Okay. Look, top score, Srushtika, 6 points. Okay, I give up.
Yeah.
I give up.
I'm just trying to get the high score.
So let's talk about both yourselves. So we'll come back to this shortly and we'll talk about how it was made and get everyone playing. Right. So who would like to go first? Tell us about how you got to where you are now.
Sure. I guess let's just keep the same order. I'm happy to go first.
Sure,
why
awesome.
not? So yeah, I think my journey as a developer in general, is that what we're going with? Do you want like the whole story?
yeah, do it. Let's hear it. Like, cause you weren't born making a computer game, right? You got to where you got to with hard work and lots of excitement and fun and some challenges.
Yeah.
So let's hear about it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I guess my journey as a software developer started when I started my own startup. This was quite a while ago. This is before, you had your Weebly's and your Wix. I used a simple, similar version of those websites, but it didn't really have all the functionality I wanted. It was pretty ugly. I can't remember what it was called, but it was not worth anyone's time. So I started messing around with CSS, HTML, just to really perfect the sort of brand vision I wanted. And then that was sort of it. I was just sort of hooked from then. I wanted to learn more, started learning JavaScript, then eventually did a boot camp. So I actually did General Assembly's boot camp here in London, and it was amazing. It was really good. And then, yeah, been a software developer professionally since.
Awesome.
That's cool.
Srushtika.
How about you? Yeah.
Yeah, from my side, so I did my undergrad in computer science in 2017. But when I was in uni, I basically used to work on a lot of side projects, basically anything that didn't involve my college curriculum, anything that involved me preparing for my exams, everything apart from that, I used to do. But I really got interested in exploring new technologies, trying them out, and then, sharing that with my friends at uni and everyone else. And I was also at the time a contributor to the Mozilla Foundation. Basically, it promotes open source and open web among developers. Yes, of course.
I heard
Eddie
open
knows
source. I got
something
excited.
about it. Yeah, exactly. So I was a volunteer there, and they had this program called the Tech Speakers Program, which basically trains you up as a technical speaker and supports you if you want to go to some event, be a speaker and talk about open source or anything related to the open web. And I got excited and I thought, why not? And I basically started speaking and, exploring new technologies from that. And as part of it, I was at the time exploring a library called A-Frame VR, and I co-authored a book on that technology. So that all went really well. And all this was still in uni. So by the end of it, when I had to choose between, a software developer job or like something which at the time I just knew, like recently discovered, there was this thing called developer relations, developer advocates who do this. What was a hobby for me, like they do this for a living. I was like, yeah, I'm going to choose that definitely if I have a chance. So that's how I started. I took a job in Berlin, moved to Berlin from India, and started off with that, and then moved from Berlin to London in a year, and right now I'm working with Ably as a developer advocate. So it's been cool. It's been a
Awesome.
Cool journey so far.
What a really international stream, because I know Ania also lived and worked abroad of various countries around Middle East and so on. So it's really, really exciting. We've covered a lot of countries. And I've put some comments in the chat, and just to repeat, I've put both their YouTube channels where you can see the more detailed video in how they built the game and the real-time multiplayer part. The links are in the YouTube channel. Do go watch those videos, give them a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to their channels for more awesome content. Right, shall we look at some code? Who's ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay. So this is Anya's GitHub account, and we're going to look at the single player version of the game, and then we'll go into Srushtika's GitHub account, and we'll look at the multi-player version. So
Yeah.
Ania, direct me where to go, and let's show how a bit more behind the scenes about the game.
Yeah, definitely. Well, to start off, this project's made in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I didn't use Canvas. This is because I just wanted to make like pure JavaScript version. I think it's really important to get to grasp with like the pure JavaScript side of things before moving on to any sort of like framework, especially when you start moving on to React and stuff. So I just really want to keep it basic on my channel. So I guess let's start off by looking at the index.html file. As with any tutorial I do, I always start off with the index.html file. So if we click onto it, you'll see exactly what I've sort of hard coded and what I haven't, I guess. So if you look at it, it's really simple. There's not much in there. It's linked with the link tag and the script tag, standard. We then have the borders. That's something that I added at the end. In my video, you'll see why. At the beginning, I just started with the game container and put in the sky, the bird, and the ground. That's all we really had to do to get things going. So you can see that there. I hard coded the bird in. We could have done this in JavaScript, but it's irrelevant really for now. Now, once we had all of this set up, it was just a case of really picking it out for our JavaScript to work with. So if you flip over to the JavaScript file, you will see how I pick out the elements by their class names. Okay, so here we go. I picked out the bird using query selector. So at the top of the file, you'll see that. Picked out the game display, picked out the ground, just so we can now work with it in our JavaScript file. I, of course, also added the styling. This, again, at the beginning, I didn't go to town on anything. Just to reiterate, in my tutorials, I literally don't touch styling because otherwise I'd be here like all day. This was a one-off where I did it, I made the ground moving and so on. So, but yeah, I literally had like a little blue block for the bird and bluish sky and stuff. So we carried on from there. Now, I think the funnest part about this game is figuring out how to, well, there was a few parts of it. So the gravity was quite fun because I could easily make the bird go up and down if you press your up arrow or your down down arrow on your key. But figuring out how to make the most like natural moves and gravity, that was really cool. I really enjoyed doing that. And another tip for you, if you do make this game at home, you can actually increase how hard it is by increasing the gravity. So, I mean, obviously, if it's a 1, you'll be like you're on the moon or something. It'll be like nothing. You probably pay forever, right? You're like, ooh, just passing everything. If you want to make it harder, make gravity 4. Another suggestion I'm going to let you in on is if you do want to have levels, you could also level up by making the gravity harder each time. I don't know. Another way of leveling up on this game is to make the pipes appear like close together. Anyway, there's like loads of stuff you can do. You make the pipe even closer together as well. So the gravity was the first fun aspect of making this game. Once we got that down and the bird was sort of like moving up and down, we then moved on. So if you scroll down, okay, so the generate obstacle. Now this was fun. I tackled this by first of all getting the object to generate. Right, so I got them to generate. I got 1 to generate, which is the bottom pipe. If you know Flappy Bird, there's 2 pipes, but I got 1 pipe going. I got it getting to the middle, and then if it passed, getting to the end, and another one generating. So it's like a revolving thing of pipes. Now, once I got 1 pipe going and disappearing when I got to the end, and another appearing, and then focused on getting the top one to appear at the same time, and it was literally just the same image that I flipped using CSS and the rotate property. So that's quite easy, same thing, just rotated. And the fun part here was getting the random height of the obstacles. Because if you notice in the game, the pipes don't show up at the same height. They actually fluctuate by 60 pixels. So you can see here, math random times 60. That is the difference in height that you're gonna get from each pipe. Pile's not a thing in this tutorial. Okay, so yeah, when we got that done, that was fun. It came down to defining what was a collision. Okay, now obviously if the bird hits 0, so you got here deeply equals, it needs to be exactly 0. If it deeply equals 0, then the game is over because it reaches the bottom of the sky. I think it's the sky div. So that's fine, that's easy. But what happens when this was something that I was just like, oh crap, how do I do this? How do I know exactly when the bird, so the bird's obviously moving up and down. It can be deceiving, but all it does is actually move on a y-axis up and down, doesn't move x. So I used that and then figured out when the pipe was like in a certain, so obviously all these obstacle lefts is just the amount of pixels from the left of the div you're in. So I just use that to figure out exactly the position of the pipe. And if the bird and the pipe were in any of this if statement here, then the game was over. So that means if there was a collision with a pipe and the bird, if the bird hit the bottom of the game, and if it hit the top pipe. Then we clear the interval. So clear interval is a JavaScript method that will clear any sort of timer ID. So we assign the timer ID to the set interval of move obstacle. So we stop the obstacles moving by clearing the ID, and the game is over. We set it to is game over. I've got a I think I've got a is game over at the top set to false as a default. So yeah, so we make sure that the game is over. And that is it. I think we pretty much got it.
Wow,
Is
you
there
make it
any-
sound so easy, but it's not.
I mean, yeah, I really don't want to make it sound easy. It did take me a while to perfect, especially with the styling and stuff. Like I said, I'm not like styling is not really my thing. So making the ground move, if you want to have a look at that as well, if we go over the style sheet.
And how long did it take you to make this game? Like if you did it constantly?
Yeah, I know it's quite hard because I do have a full-time job. So this is very much like a weekend and after work thing. But I reckon back to back. Oh God, that's really hard, isn't it? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm going to say a day. There we go.
Okay.
Not including any alterations.
That's really impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, so to get the ground to rotate, this was purely CSS. I didn't use any JavaScript for this. And I just found this on the internet. If I could tell you where, I would, and I would credit the source, but I really don't know. I'm really sorry. So if you scroll down to the bottom, this keyframe slide right for the ground moving. So that if you go down .ground moving, that is how I got my ground to move, which is quite fun, quite interesting.
That's
definitely
awesome.
Not something. Yeah, and by Z index, I moved it a bit to the front just so it doesn't, goes in front of any other divs that we have. So yeah, I don't know if there's any questions. I can't see the questions.
Yes, any questions? Ask in the chat.
But yeah, it was really fun. I really enjoyed making it, and I'm really excited because I have watched Srushtica's video, but I'd love to hear her explain and talk through it as well. So I'm also here now as an audience member.
Well, if anyone has any questions for either of the repos, even if we've moved on, don't worry, ask the questions and we'll try and slot it in. And we are really excited to have you later on play the game with us as well. Right, Srushtika, are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, let me share the link to the repo.
As you can see, I just made some last minute fixes 5 hours ago. Just in time for the live stream. Cool. So basically, to start with it, what Ania had was an index.html and app.js. And to make it multiplayer, we basically had to host the game somewhere. And if you want to make it multiplayer, it basically means, say, Eddie, Ania, and I are playing. Now, there needs to be some sort of a mechanism in which these three sort of clients are talking with each other. And when you talk about multiplayer games, there are generally like a couple of strategies. Some people use like the P2P, peer-to-peer strategy, where every player is connected and talking to every other player. But because this game, as you'll see soon, it has like a high frequency data transfer. And what happens then is, because every player is sending a message to every other player and the same is repeating for every player involved, it gives rise to, I don't know if the audience is aware of the time complexities and stuff, but it gives rise to an n-squared complexity, which is really bad for games like this, and it adds to latency, and that's something we don't want. It needs to be like a smooth animated motion like we saw in the demo before. So what I've done is there's another strategy called client server, where you can think of it like, there's a central server which maintains and holds the game state at all times, and then whoever wants to play the game, it serves the game to those players and also serves as a single source of truth for whatever is happening in the game. So all the players then communicate via the server. So there's like n plus n, big of n complexity, and not really like a squared complexity. So that's what I've done. So now if you see in the files that are there, I've moved all of the files that were there before into a folder called public, and I've created another file called server.js outside. So this is just the same thing, right? I've changed a couple of things in app.js, and I've added one thing in style.css that we'll see. But can we start with the server.js file, which is in the root? Yeah. So what I've done is I'm using 3 npm libraries. So this is all written in Node.js. And if you want to use libraries in Node, you basically require it via nps. So .env is basically to get some secrets from the environment file. Express is a well-known library to host files. Basically, you can say, if someone hits this endpoint on my server's URL, serve them this index.html file. If you see on websites and things like that, you don't really have /index.html written on their URL, right? What's happening is you just go to a custom link, and the server which is serving you the files, it just gives you that HTML without the URL needing to be that. So that's exactly what Express will do for us. And then Ably does all this message transfer, real-time message transfer between the server and all the players, and that's why I'm using Ably. Now, with Ably, there are a couple of concepts that apply more generally, not just for gaming, but generally for like any real-time sort of apps. Even if you have like, say, chat app, that is happening in real time, right? You're not really refreshing the page every time to get an update. You just have the application open and you just receive the update as and when it is generated. So for that, there is a concept called publish subscribe pattern of messaging, which means all the participants in that application are either publishing some data or subscribing to some data, and or doing both. So when you say you're subscribing to the data, you just automatically receive updates. Like, say we have magazine subscriptions, right? We don't really go to the shop every time to get new magazine. So you just say, I need this magazine, and it's delivered to you all the time. That's exactly what's happening here. In this, I tell Ably, I'm interested in the game state updates on the players, just give me that whenever they're available. And because of some, under the hood protocols like WebSockets, which maybe would be too much to go in this stream, but that enable that sort of a communication, unlike the basic HTTP one that we generally use to access different websites and stuff like that. And now one more concept, quick one, is called channels, where within an app, all of the data that is moving around, we can basically break them down into different sets of data. So these sets of data will travel within their own sort of pipes called channels. So we'll have, say, one channel for the players to send their position updates to the server, and we'll have one channel where the server will publish the state of the game to all the different players and things like that. So as you can see, that's what's happening in line 4, where there's the game channel called Flappy Game, and that would be our main channel. And basically, I have something called a game ticker. So if you scroll down, Eddie, on line 21, we are basically instantiating the Ably instance. So we're all set and we're connected. And if we scroll down, so in line 51, we're basically waiting to connect to Ably, after which we're attaching to a couple of channels. There's the top score channel, there's the game channel, and then if you scroll a bit more, there's subscribe to players input, which again subscribes to a bunch of other channels. And there's another concept called presence, which basically tells you who is online at the time in the game or who has left. This is this is the same sort of concept in chat. You see people online on WhatsApp and they appear online, or when they've left, that sort of text doesn't appear. So presence is a feature that enables that. What I'm doing here is on line 61, I'm just basically checking if someone's come in. Whenever a new bird's come in, I just save their context, get their sort of data, and then subscribe to a whole other individual dedicated channel for them, where I receive this position updates from that player, and then keep updating the context of the game. And if you see, if you just search for something called game ticker, actually on line 63, it's a lot of code, by the way. So I'm like talking a lot. But on line 63, yeah. So basically, whenever I have the first player in, I'm starting something called the game ticker, which basically publishes a new update every 100 milliseconds. So in a second, you'll get 10 updates. And this is what I meant by high frequency messaging, right? Because you want the game to appear very smooth and all the updates appear, as they happen. So every 100 milliseconds, there's a update published to all the players. And that update will actually contain the positions of the different players that are playing in the game at the moment. And if we go back to app.js now, in public, in app.js, right? So if you Scroll down. Those are a bunch of random names that I assigned directly by default if you're too lazy to type in. Yeah, scroll down a bit more. Bit more. Yeah, so in line 108 now, basically what I'm doing is I'm setting up a channel for myself, identified by a unique ID that every client will have. And then I'm also attaching to a bunch of other channels, including the game channel, on which the server, if you remember, is publishing the game updates. So what happens is, as soon as these updates are coming up, I'm creating a new bird in this channel. So if you see, if you look at line 127, which says show other birds, if you go to the definition of that function. Yeah.
I'm trying this out for the first time. Okay. Oh, it did go to it. Awesome.
That's a new GitHub feature, isn't it?
It's it came out a few weeks ago, I think. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So as you can see, what's happening here is I'm subscribing to this event game state on the game channel, and whenever some new bird is appearing or their position is changing, I'm either changing the position of that bird in my in the local context, so they move along with whatever the actual player is moving as well, or if it's a new bird, I create a new bird for it. So in order to show you that, can we go to style.css?
Of course. He says, there we go.
Yeah, style.css. In this, basically, there's a class called other bird. You can just search for it.
This is where you made it more transparent.
Yeah, exactly. I think you just crossed it.
There we go.
So basically, it's the same bird that Ania had, which is the original bird that you play. But the only difference is it appears as a layer behind because of the z index being -1, and the opacity is 0.2, so it appears transparent. Because if it's fully visible, you'll be just confused as to which one your bird is. So all the other birds which my server is sending me the positions of, I just show them as translucent, and my own bird appears like fully opaque. And that's basically what's happening. Get the updates from the server at high speed, and then move the div according to those updates, instead of moving the div according to the updates as part of the key presses that's happening on our side. And one last function that we have in app.js is you're also sending your position updates, because the server needs to have this data, right? So you're also having the client. Yeah, if you go to app.js and look for publish something. Okay.
One more.
So if you scroll a bit down. Okay. I have no idea what I'm looking at. But if you go to the function just right above the just scroll back up. Yeah, okay, perfect. So this is where we're attaching to this channel, and there should be, are we in? Okay, yeah, if you can just scroll a bit down a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, there's the function on line 126 called send position updates.
Do you want me to go to it?
That's literally the method on the front end client, which is publishing the updates, basically the position of the div. As you can see, the bottom, nickname, and score. Actually, there's an interesting story about score I'll tell you in a bit. But essentially, bottom and nickname, it is sending that data to the server, and the server is then publishing that to all the rest of the players. So they're like, right, Anya's position is this, and Eddie's position is this, and I want you to update your, the div that you have on your side according to that position. And that's basically what's happening.
That's so awesome. I think it's really, really good. And yeah, so much goes into it. There is a lot of code here, but so much is possible. We've even had, someone asked the question, Viren, hopefully I've pronounced that right, says customize for each player. And also Ania spoke about different levels. I would really prefer easier levels to begin with, so I can get past through that first pipe. We have, in our defense, we have got through the first pipe before. I think.
Yeah.
I think we did. We died in the second one.
If it makes you feel any better, in the multiplayer version, the gap is actually more, because I couldn't even test with the difficulty that Anya had in her game. So I was like, okay, I need to increase the gap before I get started. So it's difficult. It's fun. So.
It is fun, and it is quite addictive.
Yeah.
Praveen,
what's your story?
Oh yes.
Yes. So actually, in all the games, there's a concept called authoritative server. What it means is the server needs to be the single source of truth to tell you what's happening in the game, because, hey, there are hackers out there who can hack into the games. So what's happening here, which I've done on purpose, is on the front end, I'm making the client send its own score back to the server and saying, hey, by the way, I crossed the 5th pipe and my score is now 5 or whatever. As you can see in this, right here in line 2 to 3, I'm saying publish bottom nickname as well as my score. So what could happen here is, if you go to the, theoretically, actually practically, if you go to the game screen and open the snippets and look at this code, you can basically run this publish thing. Instead of my score, you can put 10,000 or something, and that will update your score in the server by 10,000, and it'll also appear in the top score because it is the top score so far. And you can easily hack it, right? Because it's on the client side, all this script is visible and you can do anything, execute it. So generally what you do is let the server decide the score according to your movement update. So it will keep a track of where you've reached, where the obstacle is reached, and then it will update the score on its side and then just tell you, hey, your score is now 5, after which you'll then update the labels thing. So that's cool. I was testing this game a couple of times with my colleagues when I initially made it, and one of my coworker, Tom, did this exact thing. He basically published Tom's score 10,000, and that was like, okay, fine. That's sneaky, but that's cool. That proves the point.
But it does show how important it is to have not everything on the client side, because people can manipulate it and change it. And I think that's quite funny. That is really good. I'm just going to share everyone's channels again in the chat, and then I will share the repos. I know people are asking for those. So this is Anya's channel with all her retro JavaScript, vanilla JavaScript games. Don't forget to subscribe and check out her video on this, where she goes into much more detail. I think it's about 30 or 40 minutes. It's very detailed. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very awesome. And then here is Srushtika's channel on Ably, where she does the multiplayer side and also goes into a lot more detail in what we've covered today. So do go watch those videos. Don't forget to give those videos a thumbs up and subscribe to their channels for more awesomeness. It is very cool. So actually, I have a question for both of you. What's next? Not necessarily for this game, but Anya, what game are you making next? Srushtika, what real-time project are you making next?
Well, I'm actually making, I think, my longest game, which is Battleships. It's going to be really long because
that is so cool.
Yeah, I've been putting it off just because it's I think I'm too I get really obsessed about things, and I'm like, no, I want to be able to drag and drop and rotate the ships and put them in my grid exactly where I want. So that's taken me a while to perfect. So essentially, you're going to play against a computer. You've got 2 grids, and you as the player have a selection of your 5 ships: the destroyer, cruiser, submarine. God, I should know them all by now. Carrier. And you can rotate them and drag them exactly into the location that you want. You have to make sure, however, when you do that, that it doesn't go off the grid. So I use maths a lot, like modulus and stuff. So if you're into that, please do check it out. And now I'm just working on getting the computer to make smarter movements. So smarter rather than just, anywhere. So it's a fun one, but I think it's going to be very long.
That's super cool.
And actually, Srushtika, before you answer your next project, I didn't ask you this question. How long did it take you to make Flappy Bird's multiplayer, if you were to do it kind of consistently?
I would say 2 working days with some time to chill in the evenings.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it's I mean, once you get the idea of how these other like different pieces will communicate with each other, it's very easy because it's all there. The frameworks are there. The communications, architecture is there. You just need to connect to it and start using it.
Yes, so I guess the more logic that people need to work on is their kind of app logic. They don't have to worry
Exactly.
about performance and those sorts of things,
No.
right? They send it to the channel and anything listening will
It's okay.
get the data
Yeah.
in real time, which is why it's awesome to use something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if I were to make like a WebSocket server from scratch, which I have, and there's a tutorial and everything, it's just, I think it'll take the double amount of time I made this app to just like set up that communication in the first place. So that's not great. Okay, so back to the question.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw, but I made another multiplayer game before this called Space Invaders. It was for, I mean, not called, it's a retro game, everyone knows it, but I basically made it multiplayer, and instead of the shooter, you're actually the invader. But based on the experience on that and on this Flappy Bird, I'm now planning to release a multiplayer games template, which means any game that you want to build and make it multiplayer, you can just use that template as a starter thing and just get on with it. You don't have to like write everything from scratch. You don't even have to spend the 2 days that I did to build that. So that's something I'm really excited about.
That's awesome. So question to both of you, when are these both awesome projects coming out?
I don't know yet. If I say it now, people.
Well, an idea is it something like this week, next week, 4 weeks?
Probably next month, to be honest.
Next month,
Yeah.
okay.
So, yeah, but I do have like a few other ones that I'll probably bring out before. I just not exactly sure, but that's sort of what I'm working on at the moment. So yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. I think mine is in the next couple of weeks. That's something I'm really keen on doing quickly. Many people who saw the previous game as well, they were like, okay, it would be cool to like start off as a starter project. So I'm really, really keen on sharing that.
Oh, awesome. I'm excited. You have to definitely keep us posted. So everyone watching, I know I've shared the GitHub links as well to their repos, to both of them, and their YouTube channels, but also you can see, if I point my hand, the Twitter handles, I can't point very well. Where's my left hand? Under their name. Go follow them on Twitter and you can get some updates on how their progress is going in other projects that they're working on. I'm really excited to have a player game with everybody watching. Is everyone watching ready to join us in a game?
Let's do this.
I must remember to share the right link.
Hold on, I need to find the link myself.
I'll put it in the YouTube chat. So everyone, I want to share the link in the chat. Only if you're ready. You got to write ready in the chat. And you need to give my video a thumbs up as well and subscribe if you haven't already. Of course, I always forget about mine. Give yourself a nickname. I know you get a defaults, but I'm really interested to see if I recognize any names and just make sure I beat them. That's all. So, okay. The link is going to be in the chat right about now, but we won't start the game just yet.
The refresh.
Oh yes, right? We'll do a count. Well, the thing is, there's a lag on the YouTube stream, so we'll say refresh. They won't get it for 10 seconds later.
You don't actually have to wait for everyone to start the game together. It's fine. People
they can join later.
You'll still see the.
Oh, they can go later.
Yeah.
Fine.
They can join at any time. Yeah.
Okay, this is going to be fun. Well, we'll play it quite a few times, so people might miss a game. They can join later and all the rest. There's just one rule: no one can beat me. You have to let me win. That's the only rule. Okay, let's start a game. Ready? I'll count down for us, and hopefully people can refresh and join. Ready?
Yeah, okay.
3, 2, 1. Refresh. Play. Come on, I'm the highest.
Look at that.
Do I get extra points for that? I killed us. That was me.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, let's
just
do it.
Just keep refreshing and the other players will still appear. That's
okay,
fine.
Sounds good. Oh wow, we've got more players now. That's awesome.
Yeah.
let's take it to at least 3 pipes. Yeah.
We're going to be here till tomorrow.
It's actually more difficult when others appear because it's all confusing. Where?
Okay, let's refresh and try again. Top score.
Wow, yes.
We got it through! We made it through! Yes! Oh my god, Ania might be right. We might actually make it through to the third pipe. Purple Sparrow, whoever that is, got 9 points.
That's
How did
crazy.
I have 1
I thought I had
point?
the highest score before this. Someone beat me. That's so bad.
Oh my
I
God,
did
this
so
is
much
so
practice
fun.
while testing this.
This is quite funny. Let's do it again and give everyone a moment to change their names to their username on GitHub so we can try and see messages in the chat to what your score is. But that's
Okay,
pretty
I've done
cool.
Let's do it.
I was just about to do 3, but I've died.
Hey, wait a second, you're getting extra points without us. Okay, I need to get some extra practice. 15 points by Purple Sparrow.
Who is Papa Sparrow? Show yourself.
Diego from Portugal, you got 9 points. And Praveen, you're in second. Okay. You got to let me win. That was the one rule.
Oh.
Wow, I got 0.
I'm getting 1 point. Like, at least I'm beating you. Both, I think. Oh no, Srushika's winning with 3. Damn it.
You said it, and I died.
Oh, yes, come on, second pipe. Oh, we didn't make the second pipe. Oh, there's a lot of people. Does it say the total amount of people?
It does not. You gotta count. I mean, all the people that are appearing on the leaderboard are actually playing live because the people who leave, they disappear from the live leaderboard.
Okay, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Wow, that's pretty good. 11 people on that. That's really awesome. But the project is open source, so someone could make a contribution into, adding a total, so don't have to count and so forth. Right.
Yeah,
should we
definitely.
go again? I'll refresh again. 3, 2, 1. Let's refresh. And I hope to get to the third pipe.
Someone
Oh.
beat purple person. There's a new top scorer.
Wow.
So jealous that you're getting more than 1 point like me.
I know, I've only got 1 point. How do you get more points?
I don't know. I think maybe just more pipes. Does anyone know?
Yeah.
Srushtika, do you know?
What's
She's
that?
not telling.
What's the question? The question?
How do you get points? Is it like how many pipes you pass?
Yeah. For each passing pipe, it's 1 point.
What? So someone got 26? Oh no, that's total, I
Yeah.
guess. Cool.
No,
Diego-
that's not total. When you refresh, it's all lost. So at one
Oh.
time, in one go, you get as many points. As you see, like Eddie's playing, and the score is 2 on the top. So
That is
per pipe, it is
crazy.
that score.
So
Someone
someone's
34
got
points is crazy.
34. Diego. I know Diego. I
Oh.
met him at Web Summit conference in Lisbon.
39, still going strong.
He obviously plays too many games.
41, he's still there.
What? I can't get past the first pipe anymore.
Oh, I think he
Is there
just
a-
died because it's not updating anymore.
Okay, I got through the second pipe. Come on, third pipe.
Oh, we have a character from Brooklyn Nine-Nine with 3 points.
Who is that? Who's the character?
Peralta. Someone's calling
Funny.
themselves Peralta.
GitHub link to the game. Okay, yeah, I will share it again, no problem. So this is the single player, and then this is the multiplayer. And Diego says the game crashed at 41 points. It could be the browser potentially that you're using. What browser are you using, Diego? 41.
That's crazy.
Oh dear.
Come on, I got through the second pipe. I just need to get through the third. I think that's my evening gone, that I'm just going to be like...
Oh my god, I'm going to do 4 pipes. Fuck, can I do 5? I've just done 5. I'm on a roll. I don't know what's happened.
I'm sure you played it a lot when you were making it, right? It's quite addictive.
Yeah.
That's basically why I'm able to pass at least one pipe.
Okay,
I was so bad at the beginning.
my record. I think that's 6. Oh, I spoke too soon. How have people got into double figures? I'm struggling at 5. Wow. That's really cool. Really awesome. 41 points top score. That's impressive.
Yeah. Woo, go Diego.
That's very impressive. Nice one, Diego. Very cool.
Nice.
So, some ideas for the future. We've only got about 5-10 minutes left. So I'll be interested to know, people watching, what questions do you have about the game? And also, what ideas would you bring to the game? I see some people, let me bring them up on the screen already. Oh, Harsh says I linked the same repo, did I? My bad. So, you're right, I did. There's the multiplayer one.
Actually, there's someone on chat called Praveen who says he's suggesting a feature that we should be able to hide other players. But that's not fun.
Yeah.
You need to see other players playing with you.
I do like to see the other players. Absolutely.
It all gets you confused and makes it hard, but that's the fun.
Yeah, it's part of the fun, you're right. Clicks not being sent. You got to use spacebar, I think.
Yeah, it's not click. It's spacebar. Click to start.
Maybe. Oh yeah, spacebar to jump. That was so much fun. So ideas, I think, maybe have a lobby where everyone can join, and the game doesn't start until like the person who created the game says, okay, we've got all these people here, right? Anyone else joining? You've got 15 people. And I would click start, and then we would all start together. Something like that, I guess, is a feature that I would be thinking of. So you can have a lobby. And then you could, I guess, password protect them with a pin if you just wanted your own friends to join, which is no fun, right? You want loads of random people to join.
Yeah. I do have a link to a project which shows you how to generate worker threads for different game rooms experience, the feature that you were just mentioning, where you can just say start and people go into like separate rooms, so there's not much load on the server as well. So I can share that in the chat if it's helpful.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. You should be able to post a link. If not, let me just make you a moderator. Yeah, try and post it. I might have to approve it or something. If not, I'll just upgrade you to mod. But yeah, share any links that you need. Did someone get some really high 50,000 points? Sounds like someone's been cheeky.
I was waiting for someone to do that. I was waiting for someone to do that trick that I mentioned.
But we did mention it, right? Well, you did mention it.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. Now the next challenge is go to the GitHub repo and make a PR to fix that. Actually, I was talking to I was telling to the audience, like, make a PR, fix that, put that logic on the server side so no one is able to do that again.
Exactly.
That's something to do.
I guess not having to refresh again. Yeah, Diego, that's a really, really good idea. You don't have to refresh to start again. Maybe just kind of a button comes up and you click and it would say start again. That would be awesome. Lots of great ideas. Everyone watching, you know I'm a huge fan of open source, and both of these projects are open source. So what I suggest, if you want to get your green square, that's not a square, it's like a circle, but if you want to get your kind of green square for today, raise some issues in these repos with ideas, and you still get the green square. Even better if you make a pull request with some code changes. But don't worry, raising an issue is, I strongly believe, and also GitHub must believe, that it is a contribution because you get your green square. So do go raise some ideas and issues in those GitHub repos. And it's always fun as a project maintainer to get issues and ideas raised. Awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything else either of you would like to add? I'm just watching the clock. Got a few minutes to go.
On the question that's still up, I think that's a great idea. I planned it. We could just have a button to restart the game instead of having to refresh. It's just a dirty hack.
No, that's fine. I think it's amazing what you both did in a couple of days each. But yes, anything else you'd like to add in general? Get into coding. The best way to learn is have side projects, make multiplayer games, take existing games that other people have built on GitHub, make the multiplayer, I guess is our suggestion to everyone.
Yeah, remix everything that's out there. Just make it your own.
Yeah,
Add your funky style.
you've just given me an idea. What about if someone's more not into making games, but more into making, I guess, kind of a portfolio? What about making a portfolio for all these games online where you could filter them, which one's a single player, which one's a multiplayer, and all the rest? So you could do stuff like that as well. If anyone is short on ideas.
What other things can you use Albi Realtime for apart from games? That might be interesting to the viewers.
I mean, any sort of like real-time communication where you want messages as soon as they happen in the real world from, say, in Uber, you see your car, moving in the map as it is moving in the real life. And say in chat apps or in multiplayer games and what else? Anything that's happening live. If you hear live, there's real-time messaging, and you can use Ably for any of those sort of applications. There's also I don't know if you've seen a lot of HQ style apps, quiz apps right now. They're being popular, where there's a host who asks quizzes, conducts like people, there's like a quiz shown and you have 10 seconds to answer that question. And there are people all around the world, millions of people playing that sort of quiz.
Wow.
And you can have those quizzes like with all that scale appear live to you, and you can still like do all of that sort of participation using something like Ably. Just stream scores even.
That is
So
awesome. I'm refreshing the page and I'm seeing the scores get wildly crazier, but they have put 8 points at the end. Like, I don't know, what's that? Like 1,000,008 points. Alrife, I do like the extra 8 points that you've added on. That's quite nice. We do have a question actually, and this is probably more for Ania, because I think you're a React developer. Someone's asking, Rohan's asking for React projects they can contribute to.
I don't really, I've got a few, not games though, but I actually have one, like if you're looking for something to do in React.js, I've got a random beer generator that uses quite a cool API. If you want to have a look at that, and please feel free to contribute. That's on my GitHub. That's quite a fun one. The API uses actually Brewdog's API, and it's really good because it's really complex. So if you want to get to grips with reading really complicated objects and stuff, that's quite a good project. I really enjoyed doing that one.
Awesome, thank you. Anyone watching, I highly recommend getting involved and contributing to open source. Anyone who's been on my channel before, I rave about it. If you can find one using a technology or a library or framework that you enjoy, then great. But if you can't, then just get involved with any project, and then you'll come across the technologies that you want, for example. So definitely look at Ania's React projects. But if you for some reason they're more advanced than you want, or whatever the reason is, find another project that you can contribute to, and before you know it, you'll find more React projects if that's what you want to get into. I think once you get started, it snowballs, and you'll have more. You'll discover more projects that you could contribute to. So definitely just get started. Don't wait for that perfect project, because you'll be waiting forever.
Actually, if you want to start off with the real-time side of it, I'm just sharing a link. Basically, it has like, the portfolio thing that you were mentioning before that gave me the idea.
Yep.
It's basically a repository of free data streaming sources. You can just plug into it and start receiving real free data like Bitcoin prices or weather data, etc. You can experiment and build really cool projects, open source projects with that. It's all free and open to use.
That's awesome.
cool.
Yes. That sounds really good. Yeah, ping the link in the chat, and hopefully Nightbot doesn't block it. And if not, I can reshare it. Let me know when you've done that.
I've already sent it.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Beat you to it.
I got blocked, did I?
Did you get blocked? It usually comes up and says, I mean, you can always
No,
share it
I'm
to me
just
on
saying.
Twitter if you want, and I can just paste it in.
Yeah, cool.
Do that. And then we've got a few thank yous as well. Mohammed's apparently done some crazy score. Let's have a look. Yes. Let me bring that up just for fun. And then that is an impressive score. It does look more realistic, that it's not perfectly rounded. And then we've got an awesome comment here as well. Vareen says, both projects look great. Looking forward to seeing what these projects grow into. Yeah, hopefully the community will get involved and add some features and some ideas. That will be awesome to see, yeah, where it grows to.
I think I gave away the score hack.
Yeah, you should have waited to see if anyone discovered that, and if they did, or if they didn't at the end, then mention it. And if they did discover it, I don't know, we could have given them a prize or something. Okay, well, it's probably
Next
a good
time.
yeah, next time, exactly. It's probably a really good place to end. Thank you everyone so much for watching. Don't forget to go head over to those projects, log your ideas, head over to both their YouTube channels, and there are links in the description below, and subscribe and like their videos about making the game. And we look forward to seeing you in the next live stream. I think we had about 15 or 20 people playing the game at once, and that was quite exciting. So I might leave it open and see who's playing in like half an hour's time, and join in and play with them. That will be fun. A big thank you to my two awesome guests and their awesome project. It was really amazing. Thank you so much for building these awesome projects and coming on the live stream and talking about it and sharing your experiences and expertise.
Thanks for having us on the live stream. This is so much fun.
So much fun. Unison, we said that.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to next time. Maybe we'll have a collaboration again in a couple of months. That would be awesome.
Nice.
Perfect.
Sweet.
Okay, I'm going to put up the holding screen. If you both just hang on for a minute, and I'll pop back to this when the stream stops, and we can play the game again. No, just kidding.
Let's do that.
Bye, everyone. Have an awesome day, and it was so much fun playing the game with you.
Bye all. Thank you.